Hey detailers, podcast sponsor Joe here from Order Fiber Australia. As pro detailers, we are all about using the highest quality products for our customers when it comes to compounds, chemicals, and ceramic coatings. But what about microfiber? Are you using cheap towels that get used once and then tossed into the bin? You need to try out our amazing Order Fiber range of microfiber. Seriously, it is the best stuff going around. Use our exclusive podcast code 15DDUP and get 15% off when you purchase any of our premium Korean or Chinese made microfiber. We have a wide range of products that are tailor-made to last a long haul, so you get the best value for money and your customers will appreciate it. Go to orderfiber.com.au or find us on Instagram to make your purchase and check out our range. Now back to the podcast.
Welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast, the place for everything auto detailing in Australia right now. Here's your host, Dale Guthrie.
G'day and welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Dale Guthrie. And we're back for 2024. It's good to be back, that's for sure. So, lots been happening in our summer break, as you would say. So it's lots happening in the industry altogether, which is even better to see. So, yeah, I hope you all had a good Christmas and New Year break, and I'm definitely refreshed and ready to hook in for a big 24. So, yeah, I haven't been doing too much over the summer break. Bit of working here and there. I've only not long kicked back into it myself. So that's been good. Booked out for quite a couple of months, so that's even better. So, and I know a few of yous are as well. So from what I can see online, so that's even good. So no sign of money slowing down in Australia just yet. So that's even better. So yeah, 2024 for the podcast. So we've got a bit going on. For myself, we've got a few conferences coming up in the first few months. We're off to a Bush Wraps one, and we got a Geon one as well, both in Brisbane, which is pretty cool. We've got some training coming up for myself. I'm looking to do some PPF training with the man himself from my rap game, so keep an eye out for that one. Hopefully doing some live pod episodes. So that's one thing I always like doing. Done a couple in the past. Want to get out more to people's shops rather than doing it via Zoom. I think that's better. I know most people probably want live video ones, but yeah, video is a lot of work and everyone keeps telling me to do it. But yeah, the long-term benefits, I'm not sure if they're there yet, but at the moment we'll stick with what we're doing and what works well. So and possibly on the cards, it's a little bit away. There's a big car show in America towards the end of the year, so that's on the list as well. Been diving into that one a little bit. Got a bit of a tick of approval from the finance boss, the wife, so we'll see what happens with that one. We'll see. Cross our fingers for that one, but I think you all know what I'm on about. But anyway, we'll run with that. But in our industry alone, over the Christmas break, there's been a bit happening. I've been following and been talking to a few people, and it's been pretty promising and a big year for a lot of detail shops. So I'll start off with Alex from Australian Detail Professionals. He's launched a new website, so go and check that out. He's been doing a lot of on-location videos in people's shops, so probably check out his website, more about that. So Australian Detail and Professionals, and you can get your business on there and be verified, so it just helps people looking for detailing work to know that you're verified and how legit you are, and it's a more professional look for yourself as well. So, and if you're lucky to have Alex swing by, you even have a video and a YouTube clip for your customers to watch and view what you're all about. So awesome work by Alex as usual. So hope to get him on sometime too for an episode, which will be even better, but he's hard man to catch, so very busy. Also a lot of shops starting open new shops, which is awesome to see. So ones that I know of for now, I know there's probably a few more there, but Velocity and West Coast Car Care have teamed up. So hopefully I can get them guys on there with talking about doing an episode with them. So they've gone into a shop together, both mobile guys. So that's pretty cool. They've got a roof over their heads now. So no more washing in the sun for them boys. Elite Car Detailing in Melbourne. He's got his own new shop now. Was Mobile. Does some amazing work down there. Fellow G on install as well. So top guy. So he's got his own new shop. Top Notch Car Care. Was meant to have them guys on last year. So, but we held out for some big news. So they've obviously delivered on that, and we'll hopefully catch up with them as well. Another one that's only just happened and been released. So our mate Joe from Clean Getaway Car Detailing, that business was for sale. So he had been selling that for a while, and of all people to buy it was Glenn from Street Appeal. So it's a no-brainer for him to purchase that, and I think that's that couldn't win it to a better guy, and I don't think that business is going to drop in quality at all. So that's only can get bigger and better for him. So congrats to all involved there, and Joe's off to bigger and better things. So we'll probably talk about that later on in the year, hopefully. So yeah, that's good news for him and his family. So still in the detailing industry and still doing Auto Fibre Australia. So he's not running away just yet. So another one is Fusion Detail. They've got a new shop. I'm not sure if it's open yet. I don't think it is. Urbanity. I think I got that name right. Premium Detailing. He's in Melbourne as well. He's got the keys to a new shop. So he does amazing work too. So awesome to see these young guys having a crack and upgrading and presenting themselves even better than what they were. So I think that's even awesome. Little one for me, we're doing a little bit of a makeover for my studio as well. Just a bit of a fresh new paint job and some extra lighting, and possibly some new floor tiles going in from a very good friend. So we'll watch this space on that one. So that's starting slow. We've had a few setbacks with that with bits and pieces, but we're going to get there. And doesn't need much, but it just needs a birthday. It hasn't had one for quite a few years, and it's getting to me and annoying me. So the DPG studio is copping a makeover. So nothing major. It's not going to grow in size, unfortunately, but is what it is. So, but yeah, other than that, it's been busy off season, I reckon. So yeah, and this thing can only get better and better as well. So, and we've had some good feedback only recently from a few guys loving the pod. Even one that's gone to the training with Bill Baker, that he listened to the pod, obviously reached out to him and went to one of his trainings, so he loved that. The comment about that was Bill is quite funny, and I think we all know that. And yeah, so definitely a funny guy, and hopefully he enjoyed that episode as well. So just other random messages too, like people listening and in a bit of a rut this early time of the year, and a few episodes been picking them up and getting them keen for the rest of the year coming ahead. So just little bits and pieces like that makes me feel good and know that what we're doing here is actually helping people. So I'm not just talking to myself. So it's really cool. But this one, so we've got a few pre-recorded episodes from late last year. So I had a few big days behind the mic, so it was good. We've got a couple already booked in. We've got another one recording very soon. So another training related one with a couple of guys here in Australia that's offering training now. So just a bit of a twist to it. One's hands-on, one's online. So yeah, each to their own, and I think it's cool what they're offering. So that'll be coming up as well. So, but this one is another good one. I've always followed this company and this guy. Well, I think we do talk about it, how I discovered him. So I think it's a pretty cool story actually, what Mark's done, and yeah, he'll explain a fair bit of it in this episode. So I will, mate. Welcome, Mark from Car Care Co. So thanks for coming on, and yeah, just remember this was recorded in December. So if you listen to any sort of comments we make, it was recorded in December. So hopefully enjoy this one from Mark from Car Care Co. Cheers. Enjoy. Mark Perch from Car Care Co. Straight out of Melbourne. Good morning, mate. How you going?
Yeah, hi Dale. Thanks for having me on the pod.
That's good.
It's a nice rainy day here in Melbourne, so it's a good time to sit down and have a bit of a chat.
Yeah, it's typical Melbourne weather too, but being this
Uh,
time of year, it shouldn't be. So,
I wouldn't go that far. You know, we get less days of rain than Sydney.
oh wow.
No, that's not true. We get less annual rainfall in Sydney, I should say,
Yeah.
which most people don't know. So it's actually not that bad here.
Oh, that's good. So get ready for the hot weather. So yeah, I've been I always started with a bucket list before I started this pod, and you guys were definitely on there, and we'll probably talk a little bit about it, but I actually come across you guys from the Rag Company podcast, so we'll get into that a bit shortly, but discuss a little bit about Car Care Co. if you can, and where it all started, and your probably time in the industry, how all that began.
Yeah, that's a lot of questions and a lot of information you're asking for.
That's good.
Okay, so me personally first, my background for the past 30 years has been in the car, let's call it the car cleaning industry from the chemical side. So I was with a company called, well, had many names over the years, but let's just say Applied Australia was the last one. Large Australian chemical company, cleaning chemical company. I was there, started there in 93. So how long ago is that? 30 years?
30
Exactly
years.
30 years ago. And my role there was primarily in over the years became involved in transport. Now that started off. I started repping, became corporate manager for transport, which was aviation, shipping, car washing, heavy transport, all that type of thing. And by early 2000s, 2001, a company won a contract with a company called Car Clean, and Car Clean were one of the two largest suppliers of car wash equipment to automated car washes in Australia. And that was a very large account. So our business decided the best way to service that was to actually invest a lot in the car wash division. And I became national car wash manager with reps all over Australia. And that's where I really got stuck into the car washing side of the industry. And I learned a hell of a lot, even though it was mainly automated, I learned a hell of a lot, work with a lot of really smart chemists, really innovative chemists, which was a big help in learning about basically how to clean cars.
Mm.
The detailing side really started back in 2000. Let me go back a step. All right. So in 2009, our business, 2007, that was bought out by an American company, ITW. They kept the business as it was for 2 years, but then they made our division redundant in 2010. And our division was not just car washing; it was what they called automotive aftermarket, and that was a brand called Chemtech primarily, which was sold retail through all the retail outlets. And a lot of people listening might know products like CT18 and shock treatment, brands like Chemtech. And that was probably 80% of the division. Yeah. Basically, when they decided to make our division redundant, they took that part somewhere else. There's only a small portion of our division that was car washing. So they just said, well, we're not going to invest in car washing anymore. Anyway, so I went out and started up a business with some of my customers from the cleaning chemical company to supply car washes. So it was my wheelhouse for the past 10 years. So I thought, why not? And that's a company called All Care Vehicle Wash Solutions, which basically kept me involved in the car washing industry for the next, until now, actually. We're actually just wearing that business up to concentrate on Car Care Co, the detailing industry. Got involved in the detail industry in 2018, and this will lead on to your question about how we started a Car Care Co. I was at the ICA, so it's International Car Association show Car Wash Association show in Vegas. And by 2018, so we started in 2010. Well, we started All Care in 2010 in the car wash industry. But by 2018, I kind of saw the industry changing and the market changing. And we're a small business in a small industry. We're a niche business in a small industry. So we wanted to expand a little bit into the hand car wash market, which is not necessarily a great market for suppliers, but it's just a similar industry. So that's what we wanted to grow into. However, we needed products like, or finishing products, like some compounds, polishes. Sealants weren't really as they were then and there, but still some sealants, some microfiber towels, some cleaning tools, brushes, that type of thing. So went across to the Car Wash Association show in Vegas, hoping to find some suppliers that we could speak to on that side of the industry, not thinking we would, because I've been to shows before in Vegas and you don't see those businesses there normally. So got to the show, first day, walking around, walked past a stall with microfiber, or a booth with microfiber towels. Big signs, the Rag Company logo. You've seen the logo. It's a big logo. So I'm thinking, I've seen that logo. I know that logo. So I walked in there and I stopped, and Levi and Jeff's the owner. Levi's the front man for the Rag Company. Everyone knows Levi in the industry, right? So they were in the stand. We started talking. We kind of hit it off from the start. I probably spent about an hour there that first day. It's a 4-day show. Second day I went back. We were chatting again. Second day I said to them, you know what? Interested in your microfiber towels, but also we need some detailing products, like I just explained. So they said, you know what? We're very close with a company called P&S.
Oh, yeah.
They're just two rows down. Right? So when I visited P&S, the same thing. Got on really well, had a bit of a chat. Went back to both these booths every day for 4 days and kept building the relationship. By the end of the show, basically, we spoke about Australian distributorship, and I was very thankful that they actually agreed. And within a couple of weeks after the show, we got back to Australia, we'd actually signed off on distributorship with both those brands, and that's how Car Care Co got started. The interesting thing, Dale, is that they had never been to the show before, and they had never been back there since.
Oh, wow.
So when you talk about fate in life and fate in business, that kind of says that it was destined that we would have become the distributors in Australia. That's how I see it. That's how I look at it.
Yep.
So you go on.
Just how, with your background, like how, the distribution, did they look at your background in your car wash game? Did that help them sort of put some trust in you to go along with it, or they were just trying to get into Australia in another way?
No, you know what? I don't know what put their trust in me, with all due respect. All right, because I had no background in that direct selling industry. At that stage, I really had little idea of our route to market. Sometimes in life, in business especially, you've just got to take a chance and go for it.
Absolutely.
They obviously, I think we all have the same ethics and the same business ideas, and we saw we could work together. And that's really important in business when you've got a customer-supplier relationship. More important than the products and anything else, you've got to be able to work together going forward, because if you work well in a relationship, all businesses will thrive. That's the way I view things. So I think we all saw we could get on together. They had many, especially the Rag Company, had many inquiries previously about customers wanting to become, or people in Australia wanting to become the distributors. And they said no to all of them.
Wow.
And I know that because they sent me a list of people I should contact when we first started. P&S was a little bit the same, not quite, but Beadmaker had just started to take off at the time. So we were lucky. I don't mind saying that. We were very lucky that somehow I managed to get the confidence of both those companies for us to become their Australian distributors. I quickly had to formulate a plan on how we build the brands very quickly. And the business strategy was, and is how we still run today, is that we, rather than do what most companies do, which is build their own website and then maybe distribute a little bit to distributors, people that want the brands, our decision was made to actually do it the other way around, where we will have a strategy of creating a dealer network, a solid dealer network. We'd still have a website, but our website's secondary. And it's still how it is today. 80% of our sales go through our dealers. Could be more depending on the months. So again, that was our strategy. You've got to implement the strategy. How do you go around and find dealers, right? And our strategy wasn't necessarily to go to the established larger dealers to establish our brands, because if you do that, then your brands will get lost. That's what we thought at the time, because they've already got, your wax sets and your car care products, good companies, been around for many years. They've got a lot of brands, and you try and put your new brands into these companies. If you approach them, they get lost with everything else they're doing. So the challenge for us was to find smaller growing dealers that were willing to take on the brands and really market and push the brands. And again, we were very lucky that we found some dealers, and I'll give you some names, Ultrafine, Car Care, Detailing Shed early on, especially Detailing Shed. It remains, one of our biggest dealers. We were lucky to get 2 or 3 dealers come on board that were very supportive of our brands, and they were growing themselves. So with a bit of good management and a bit of luck and a bit of good planning, the business starts to grow very quickly. So that kind of gives you a bit of an idea of how we started, where we're from. It doesn't hurt the fact that Beadmaker was just taking off in Australia. Trust me, didn't hurt us.
Yep.
All right. I remember we didn't have our website. We had nothing set up. We didn't have a website set up, nothing. And I was getting, when I got back from the US, no, not in April. The show, I think, was in April. This would have started in about August, September, and we still hadn't got our website up and running. I must have been getting 20, 30 emails at minimum a day about Beadmaker, because it was all over social media. I was handwriting 20 or 30 writing, just manually. I was replying personally to minimum 20, 30 emails a day about Beadmaker. Wow. So we were lucky in that respect as well. But it's like everything else. You need a bit of luck in business, Dale. So good planning, good strategies, bit of luck, finding good people to work with, and hopefully your business grows. And that's what happened with Car Care at the start.
Wow. Very cool. And talk about the challenges. So how did you go placing them first orders, and sort of how big did you start?
Yeah.
Not knowing the market, but then obviously the Beadmaker order would have been pretty large.
Yeah, look, again, it was difficult because that type of selling was new to us. All right. So early days, it was difficult working out quantities, but we were ordering regularly. And back then, it was like mid to late 2018 and 2019, before COVID, supply chain issues were actually not too bad. Yeah. Right. So we could place our orders, and the sea freight orders, because it's not practical to air freight in. We do air freight at the moment when we need certain products in quickly, but we generally are losing money on those, but just to keep the supply chain going. But back then it wasn't practical. But in 2018, 2019, we could place an order with any of our suppliers. From the time we placed it till the time it was dispatched might have been a week. Then it goes to the freight company. It's got to be on the ship 7 to 10 days before it sails. Gives you a bit of an idea. Give the people listening a bit of an idea of how freight works. Then once the ship leaves, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get from LA to Melbourne, and then it's about another week by the time the ship comes and they unload. And if it's not a full container, it takes up to a week to get to you, right? So in all, I knew we could get stock in within basically 2 months.
Yep.
Or I knew from the time I placed an order to the time I received it was generally about 8 weeks, right? It might have been 9 weeks, but it was pretty good. So it wasn't so hard to plan back when we started off. The problem was we were limited in our funds. We didn't have any big investors. Yep. This is all cost. And you've got to remember, and this goes, I'm assuming, with most of our competitors, the same thing with other big brands, is that when you're buying overseas, they're not giving you very long terms. Now you've got to pay, and you don't get the stock in for maybe 2 months after you paid. You get it? So It's not like you can sell the goods and then pay for the new stock. It's very different. Yeah. So
bit of capital behind you to,
which we didn't have. Be honest, we didn't have, right? Yep. So it was a really big learning curve, and luckily things went fairly smoothly before COVID. It changed a bit around COVID time, as you can imagine.
Yeah. So how did you go through all that crazy period of the COVID, especially in Melbourne? And
yeah, look, COVID was great for our business, and again, there's 2 distinct markets in the car care products industry. Okay, there's a retail market and there's what I'll call the online market. And the much higher quality brands are in the online market. All right. Now, we're not the only company. There's other really, high quality suppliers and high quality brands of product that you don't find in retail stores. But still, we estimate it's about 70% of the market is retail because what people know. They see on TV, radio, magazines. It's easy. You jump in your car, you go and you buy. So that's the bigger market. So the online market thrived during COVID, especially in Melbourne, because you couldn't even you couldn't stores. Everything was locked down for months, as you would have heard. So COVID really helped establish our business and establish our brands because everyone was going online. And even I think it kind of grew the online segment a little bit because even the retail customers, the super cheap customers, the Repco customers, wherever they're going, could still buy from those businesses, but have to go online.
Yep.
Now, once you're online, what do you tend to do? You tend to look around.
Yep. Sure.
So they would have seen, hey, hold on, I want to buy a quick detailer. I know Maguire's quick detailer, but look, I can see another 20 quick detailers, brands I've never heard of. I should look into that. And I really think that's what happened.
Yep.
Because the online business grew. It also grew because of the fact people are at home, they look for something to do, and so what are we going to do? We're going to look after our car a bit better. So they're buying stuff online because I can't go to shops. So for those reasons, COVID was great for us. However, the problem with COVID was the supply chain issues.
Yeah.
Which people will tell you. For many reasons, everywhere's understaffed. The transport companies are all understaffed. You've got social distancing. You can only have so many people in your warehouses. Everyone had packaging issues. Like all the car care suppliers had packaging issues. They couldn't get bottles. They couldn't get caps. They couldn't get sprayers. Now, there's all these issues caused mainly by, a lot of the stuff coming out of China wasn't coming out, So we had issues here in Australia where we had a lot of log jams in our ports during COVID, which you may remember. We had issues in the actual ports. And so a lot of freight companies bypassed Australia with their ships because their job is to make money. And if their ship is sitting in Port Phillip Bay in Melbourne or off the coast of Sydney, it's sitting there for 4, 5, 6 weeks waiting to get unloaded, they're losing money.
Yep.
So there was all these supply chain issues which really hurt during COVID, especially when sales were going through the roof.
Yep.
So that was a difficult time, I think, for everyone involved.
No, very interesting. How did you so after the rag company and P&S, did that help you bring on other brands, and what were the other brands you sort of looked at then?
Yeah, 100%. Well, there's a couple of things that really helped. One is that when overseas suppliers hear the Australian master distributor for the rag company and P&S, and they speak to the boys over there and they tell them that we're doing a reasonably good job, it opens doors.
Yep.
Firstly. Secondly, in 2019, I went to SEMA.
Yep.
And again, because of my relationships with the rag company and P&S, I got to meet and got to know a few influential people over in the US. And that also opened up a few doors. So, the next brand we put on after P&S and the rag company would have been McKee's 37, and that was referred to me. They were referred to me by someone over in the US, which was great. So that was me asking. That was them contacting me directly. We bought on Ethos not long after that, and the reason why we bought on Ethos is because we kind of missed the boat on the ceramic coatings initially, because when we started in 2018, the market had kind of established itself, and there was a lot of major brands already had their coatings. So P&S have great ceramic coatings. They've got a specific look. They're as durable as anything. They're great products. But there's already so many in the marketplace that it was difficult to establish the brand at the time. So when graphene became a bit of a buzzword, we wanted to get in early, and we were looking for brands. And at the time, we were referred to Ethos actually by one of my contacts in Australia, who'd spoken to them. This guy wasn't geared to distribute, so he put us onto Ethos. So that was a referral. And at the time, there was very few. I think there was Adams and maybe SBS were the only graphene coatings here.
Yep.
So So, we got in contact with them, and that was actually a really good decision for us, because Ethos coatings are our biggest selling coating easily. Brands like DIY Detail, which is only new, we've put them on early last year. That's basically I've got a really good relationship with Ivan, and Ivan wanted us to distribute his products, and that's been a really good decision for us as well. So a lot of it's been through networking and referrals, and it's not us chasing the brands; it's people approaching us to distribute their brands.
Yep.
So, but again, I think a lot of that's got to do with the good work that we did in early days establishing the RAG company and P&S in Australia. And people can see there's a good track record there. And also, Dale, I think people like our structure over there. They like the fact that we've got a dealer network that covers Australia.
Yep.
I think that's really appealing to a lot of suppliers, because they understand, and we really push the fact that Australia is a small population but large landmass. Right. So I think they like our sales strategy as well. So it's worked reasonably well.
No, that's good. It's interesting about the coating. So the Ethos brand, is that all for enthusiasts or professionals as well? Do they have a professional one?
Yeah. There's the graphene matrix, which is for anyone. It's 5-year coating for enthusiasts, professionals. We've got a lot of professionals using the 5 years as an option. And then there's the Graphene Pro, which is a 10-year coating. Both easy to apply. If you want to use the Pro coatings as a professional, you need to be accredited, like you do with most of the major brands. You need to have accreditation. But a lot of them will use the Matrix as well, the consumer brand, for both as a 5-year, 10-year. They've got an option for their customers. But I would say the Matrix coating, probably 80% of the Matrix coating is enthusiasts.
Yep.
I could be wrong in those figures, but we sell a lot of it to enthusiasts, and a lot of it to our dealers who are selling it to enthusiasts.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but the Pro Pro is a great product. Gives a ridiculously good shine, and it does what a graphene coating is meant to do. Easy to remove water spots. It's easy to apply. More give time when you're applying it, which the detailers, the professionals love. So so we've got both types of coatings. I've got to also add to another brand we put on is Diamond Protec coatings, which is a growing.
I was going to get to that, yeah.
And that was due to our relationship with the RAG company, because the RAG company are their distributors in North America. So they basically said to Diamond Protec, you need to speak to Mark at CarGecko, which is what happened.
Yeah.
So and they're different again. Were you about to ask about those coatings, Dale?
I was going to get to that one as well. Yeah. How are they going?
It's growing. It's one of those things that we've still got to get the message more across to the market. And Diamond Protec's a very different brand. Most ceramic coatings, you've got car care products companies developing their ceramic coatings for the vehicle industry. Okay, and that's fine. That's normal. Diamond Protec is very different. So Diamond Protec is owned by a company called NG&T. That's the name of the company. And these guys have been making protective coatings for aerospace for many, many years. So these are coatings that were originally designed for satellites. This is for aerospace, for vehicles, for want of a better term, that are going through a lot more punishment up there than cars do down here. So they developed a technology which is being able to combine nano diamonds, so very tiny diamonds. It's carbon. It's the hardest element known to man, right? Nano diamonds combined with one of the hardest polymers known to man, which is a product called PHSP. I'm not going to use the full term because I never get it right, so I'm just going to call it PHSP, right? So this was designed for aerospace. But then they've said, you know what, there's a whole market out there in the vehicle industry. So they've adapted these superior coatings that they're using for aerospace. They've adapted those for the car wash market, or for the vehicle market.
Yep. And
the quality of these coatings are just something that I haven't seen before, in all seriousness. I bought a new car 6 months ago. I got the 10-year coating. First thing I did is I applied it to my car. And 5 months later, I've not washed my wheels yet, because they've got wheel coatings, glass coatings, interior. I've not washed my wheels yet. I've high pressure washed them, and they probably need a bit of a clean with a brake bust or similar product, but you wouldn't know it.
Yep.
The car is so easy to clean. Within the first 2 weeks I had it, I was at a supplier dropping off some gear. I had a trolley, rolled down a little incline, hit my car. I was pissed off, right, when this happened. Checked what the mark on the car was, and no word of, can I use
BS.
a four-letter word here?
Yeah.
No word of BS and no word of BS. Not a mark on the car. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't mark, but I'm just saying it is just the most durable coating I've ever seen. 5 months later, I've only ever washed the car with rinseless wash, never put a sealant on it. The water reaction is still phenomenal. Phenomenal. So I know I'm really pushing it, but I have not seen a coating like it. And I've got many coatings out there, which are really good quality coatings in our brands, which we have in our brands, but this is just something different. The problem professionally is that the 5-year coating is a 3-layer and the 10-year coating is a 4-layer coating.
Oh, wow.
Right. So part of the reason why it's so durable and gives such good results is because, trying to keep this simple, is because you're actually getting the strength of each layer. You're actually getting all the strengths of each layer, right? So the final layer is the hydrophobics, okay, and the gloss. So you're getting the best possible hydrophobics because it's not all blended into one product, if that kind of makes sense. So if you think of and I'll go back to my chemical background, Dale, I've never been a big fan of washing waxes because in order for a wax or a sealant to work efficiently, it needs to go on a surface which has been prepared properly. Now, if you've got a wax and a detergent in the same product, it's not going to give you it will give you a decent result, but not the same result. If you're using a clean and sanitizer to clean and kill bugs on a surface, if you use a cleaner first and use a full-on sanitizer, you'll get a bigger bug kill than you will if using a cleaner sanitizer is trying to do 2 jobs at once. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
So it's the same with the fully blended coating. Now most coatings out there are great products, whatever brand you're talking about. I'm not going to go into the brands, but there's a million good coatings on the Australian market, probably too many coatings on the Australian market, too many brands.
We talk about that.
So now they all do a good job.
They are.
But how do you improve on those results? How do you improve on the durability? How do you improve on the hydrophobic? So even if the hydrophobics are waning, you can then put a hydrophobic layer back on. So how do you get the hardest durable coating? Best way is put the coating on separately to what the hydrophobics are. So by the time you put the hydrophobics on, you've already got that hard durable layer on the vehicle.
I get it.
Right. Yep. So the protection, and let me also add here, Dale, and let me know if I'm rambling on, right?
No, you're right.
We have to understand that hydrophobics and durability are 2 separate things, because the majority of the market think that when you've got no more hydrophobics, the coating has failed.
Yeah.
Because that's because of YouTube, it's because of videos. Because when you're doing YouTube videos on a coating and you're trying to do whatever you're doing, torture tests, you're trying to show the results of the coating. How do you show protection?
Yeah.
You can't. But you can show hydrophobics, because you can see if it's not beating, there's no more hydrophobics. It might still be sheeting a little bit, but if there's nothing there, the coating's dead. But it's not dead. The durability is still there. All right. So the best way to keep that durability, as I said, is separated from the hydrophobics, is to put the durability on first, add the hydrophobic second on long-term coatings.
Yep.
So in saying that, though, if you're a professional, it takes more time.
Yeah.
Right. So the professional side of it is kind of growing at the moment. We're trying to find ways, like I've spoken to Diamond Protec, and they're actually in the process of reducing the layers. So the 5-year coating is going to be 2-layer, and the 10 years going to be 3-layer, not 4, which will help. But the consumer products, so there's a 3-year coating, an 18-month coating. There's even though some of these use professionals as well. There's the wheel, there's the glass, there's the interior and leather coatings, which is going really well. They're all easy to use, as easy as anything in the marketplace, and the results are just different. It's just, I can't speak highly enough of the coatings.
Yep.
So long answer, for a simple question. But as I said, they're just so different from your standard coatings.
Yep.
So they really need to have a bigger place in the Australian market. But as I said, there's a lot of coatings, a lot of great brands, and we understand that people are loyal to brands that they've known and used for years. So that's how it is. So, but the brand will continue to grow in time.
No, I did see a few rag company YouTube clips about when they brought that out. So it did look pretty cool. And I think they would go through where they make them and stuff, and they talk to the chemists, and yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah. And if I can also add, there's one other issue, and it's probably a good time to bring this up, just might interest the viewers as well, the listeners as well, is that the other problem we have in Australia, and I'm sure the other suppliers in the industry and the other distributors of brands will find this, is that when new products come out, we generally don't have them when they're released.
Yeah.
Because of the time lag.
Yep.
All right. So quite often the manufacturers don't have product ready 3 months before the release. They might have the product ready for sale a month before the release. So if we're shipping product in, we have to order it as soon as we can. But there might be a 2 or 3 month delay from the time they're released to the time we get the product. The problem there is that once we get the product, all the hype and the interest from that initial release
is dropped.
It's dropped. So with Diamond Protec, not only had it dropped, we actually got our first stocks in last November, just before Black Friday sales.
Wow.
Now, we're not going to bring in a new product and automatically, especially a product as higher quality as the Diamond Protec, and automatically put it on Black Friday sales. Right? So not only do we miss the hype on Diamond Protec, we also came in at a stage where no one's buying Diamond Protec coatings because they're buying everything that's on sale. The Black Friday sales. So that's another reason why the brand's taken a bit longer to take off, because of that initial hype period where there's a lot of marketing. We kind of missed that. So, and that happens with a lot of products.
Yep.
So,
do you how does the professionals get certified? How does that process work with the range of coatings that you offer?
Okay, so it's a little bit easier than some of the other brands. I'll use Ethos as a main example, and then I'll talk about Diamond Protec. Ethos is covered, the warranties are covered by Ethos, right? So with Ethos, we get forms filled in, we ask questions. If we're not sure, we'll speak to the customer, the prospective professional, and then we send the information off to Ethos, and they'll say, yeah, sounds okay, doesn't sound okay, let's ask a few more questions. There's no actual full-on training done. Okay, so we are fairly specific in who we put on as far as geography goes. We don't really like putting on applications that are too close to each other geographically, because we would like our professionals to have their own little territory. So then there's obviously a lot of other details in their area, but we don't want to be competing with the same brand, because it's hard enough getting work at the moment, you know what I mean, as far as professional detailer goes, with all new details coming in into the market. We don't need to be having to worry about undercutting and price issues. So, we try and geographically make sure we don't have too many professionals in the same area. Brands like P&S, right? P&S don't cover that, because in the US, they have a third-party insurer, the only company that does that, right? That actually covers a warranty, and they do that because if anything happens with P&S, you are still covered.
Yep.
Right. So here in Australia, we can't use their third party, so we actually will cover the warranties ourselves here. It's such a great product. We figure there's not going to be too many claims or issues, and there hasn't been one yet. So
I was going to ask about that whole warranty thing with coatings, because I don't really push it too much myself. And just how people claim and like how they use it as well. Like there's so many issues can go on there. So
so the limited warranties, all these limited warranties, because you do have to maintain the car correctly, right? And you can kind of tell when there's been a failure and the car hasn't been maintained properly. As a professional detailer, as a supplier with experience in the industry, However, if it's borderline, we'll always err on the side of the customer. You know what I mean? So if there's an issue, because also we want to look after I'm talking about the end user, by the way. We want to look after our customers. We don't want our professionals who are using our products to have issues with their customers. You know what I mean? So if there's an issue and it's borderline, we'll just replace the product if we need to. And then the customer, our customer, the professional, can look after his customer the best way. So he's not losing, well, I shouldn't say he nowadays, they're not losing face, in the industry. Yep. You know what I mean? With their customers. So we'll cover that warranty. And again, we can't train. It's a big country. We don't have accredited trainers all over. And I've got people that will train. But the problem, Dale, as you can imagine, is the people I know that train also have their own products that they use. You understand? So yeah. It's very hard to get a dedicated trainer who isn't going to be leaning towards their products as well, because these are your customers. And I'm not knocking the trainers, by the way. That's natural. It's just their business, So anyway, so it's more gathering information. How long you've been in business? What training have you had? Just ask the right questions, and then you get a feel. And 9 times out of 10, our accredited details have done a great job. You get the odd one which you make a mistake, but you deal with it when you do. Diamond ProTech is very different. Diamond ProTech is the most professional company I've ever dealt with, just about, and that's a full on in-house training with Diamond ProTech. So with Diamond ProTech, you literally go online, you apply, and the application is more in depth. They ask a lot of questions, and you need to send photos of your studio and all these things that they'll ask you for. They'll then decide whether or not you qualify to do their training. Just because they don't like what's on your form doesn't mean they can't you out. They'll ring me up and they'll say, Mark, this guy's applied. We're not quite sure. What do you think? Right. So once you get approved, then it is a full-on online training. You actually pay $750 plus GST to do the training. Once you complete the training, you then actually get a pack of products worth about $850 plus GST. Plus you get, T-shirts and a hat and a banner and all that type of stuff. So it's not actually costing you anything in the end, but it does cost you to do the course. So it's very professional. And by the way, the course isn't that difficult, by the way. And you kind of can't fail a course once you're approved, because there is a test. But if you get a question wrong, you can go back and you can repeat it, right? So it's designed not to catch you out. It's designed to train you, make sure you know your stuff. Yep. All right. So that's a full-on training program with Diamond ProTech. And by the time you finish, you set up, you get some gear and away you go.
No.
So,
because I normally would say, most coatings are very similar install. I know some are very or most of them are temperature have issues, but that Diamond ProTech, I was wondering about the certification, that one, because of the makeup of it all.
Yeah. So it's a bit more full on, and you're right, they're fairly similar, but you got to understand you got to learn still the coatings, because some will flash, some will sweat, some will haze. Some flash times are longer, right? So you may have to remove some in a minute. Some might be 5 minutes, some might be 10 minutes, some might be 15 minutes. So there are variations, and that's why with the Diamond ProTech products, they want the installers to know the products intimately. So there's no issues going forward. And obviously things like humidity and heat, they all have issues.
Absolutely.
It comes, it'll affect things. It'll affect the application process. So Diamond ProTech want to make sure that their applications are fully informed, because, as I said, these coatings are on a different level. Not application's easy, but the actual technology is on a different level. So they want to make sure that everything is spot on when we appoint professional applicators.
No, very good. Another one with products, the P&S side. Oh, it's more Dynabrade, but you don't stock Dynabrade, do you? Because I was just thinking of P&S and Rennie Doyle's new Dynabrade products.
Very, very good question again. You're asking good questions here, Dale.
Sorry.
Dynabrade, the Dynabrade polisher is the baby of Rennie.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, we are going to have the Dynabrade. We're going to be the distributor to the detailing industry.
All right.
We'll have the Dynabrade polisher in hopefully late February, maybe early March. It's been released in the US, but they're still trying to get it certified for the Australian market. They've still got to get, obviously, Australian connections, plugs. There's a lot that needs to be done, which hasn't been yet. So they've got to convert it from 110 volt to 220 or 240. That's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Right. So the answer is yes, we will have it. I used the polisher myself. I was a P&S before SEMA and spent a lot of time with Rennie there. We were just doing a bit of training, and he got out the polishing machine, and we all had to go with the polishing machine, which was fantastic. It's a forced rotation DA. Easy to use. It's got a lot of really cool features. The cord of the back is on a little ball, so it actually rotates the back of the polishing machine. Yep. Normally you got your cord and it kind of sits there flat, and a lot of times you have issues with your polishing machines. Eventually that wears out at the back. You've got to get the cord replaced. Well, this solves that problem. It's a lot more stable. It's got a lot more stabilizers on the back, on the top of the polishing machine. So if you turn it upside down to sit it down, it doesn't move. It's really, really stable. It's very powerful, but it's really smooth. And I'm not a detailer, though. I'm just an enthusiast. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm competent on a polishing machine. I'm no expert. I found it really easy to use, really simple. It just glides over the surfaces. You don't get any stalling. Obviously, the theory behind forced rotation means you get a little bit more heat. So people say, well, yeah, with the forced rotation, you get a little bit more damage. I had no issues. I had no issues. And you're talking about the throw. It's got a 6.8 mil throw.
Yeah, it's
so
different.
not a big throw, but it's more than enough to make it very usable, very, very simple to use. So it's a quality machine. And to go with that, we're going to come out with a high quality range of Dynabrade compounds and polishes, which are German made.
Yep.
So we're going to have that range as well. And we'll probably have some of the pads in as well, the Dynabrade pads, just as part of the package. But that's really exciting news, and we're just working through all the distribution aspects of it at the moment. So yeah, so it's another thing that's keeping us busy.
Yeah, wow, I wasn't expecting that. I just got lost with my connections with Rennie, P&S, and then Dynabrade. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's really exciting for next year.
Yeah. Also, the rag company, the new, what would you call them? Their new
Rip and Rag.
I was going to get to that, but there are other tools. Their new, the airline tools.
Oh, the Ultra Air tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? We bought our initial stock in back in it would have been, I reckon, maybe September they arrived.
Yep.
Could be October. The amount of stock we bought in, we took advice from the rag company, which I don't normally do. Normally I'll say, well, this is what we'll order. But air tools is not my wheelhouse, not my specialty. So I said, what do you think we should order? So they said, listen, I think if you order this amount, it'll be covered for the time being. Well, within 3 or 4 weeks, we sold out of 2 out of the four lines. It was just a little, I thought it was a little bit crazy. So we've got some more coming in. We've got stock that's due in hopefully this week. Hopefully this week we'll get it in. So we'll be able to replenish our stocks. But they're proving really, really popular because they're a quality air tool. So the biggest selling air tools in Australia, from my understanding, are Chinese cheap copy air tools.
Yep.
Right. You've got the Tornador, which Waxit have been selling for years, which are a really good quality product. These are at least the equal of the Tornadors. Solid products, stainless steel, internals. They're just quality products. And so the sales have been good. I said probably too good, but that happens sometimes with new products. And hopefully we can keep up with demand for them. So 4 different products. The interesting one is the standard air tool is the most popular. Naturally, that's just your air tool. The Ultra Air Tool Plus with the bottle underneath is also reasonably popular. Tornadors have that as well. You've got an engine blaster, which has got a long nozzle, which lets you get really into the engine, into the hard to get out parts within your engine. And the interesting one is there's the spray applicator.
Yeah.
Right. So the spray applicator is the one that the rag company over in the US, they ordered the least in the US, and that's what they sold out of. That's what everyone was buying. because it allows you to applicate tire dressings, sealants if you want, but it allows you to applicate products into really hard to get at finite areas, very small areas. I can't think of the right word. I can't think of the word I want to use, but accurately, right? Which a normal sprayer can't do. So those spray applicators, the air spray applicators, are proving really popular as well, because it just gives you something an application that hasn't been available before.
Yep.
So
No, that's what caught my eye as well. So probably not for everyone, but yeah, they're pretty handy, I reckon.
yeah,
Very
100%.
good. And yeah, like you said, the rip and rag, the other new one.
Yeah, the Rip and Rag is one of those really exciting products that's coming out. So if we look at your normal workhorse towels, your cheap basic microfiber towels you might buy in Costco, or most of the towels you can buy in the retail stores, what we call standard 80-20 blend towels, very basic, but they're cheap. They're cheap. You're paying under $1 a towel, and when I say workhorse towels, they're towels you use for maybe cleaning engine bays or door jams.
You wouldn't put on your you wouldn't coat a car with them.
Well, some people do.
Yep.
And you kind of can, but it's not ideal. Obviously, you want, for coating cars, I could have another podcast on microfiber towels, Dale, but generally you'd want a pearl weave towel for your ceramic coating applications, or maybe a specifically designed low nap 70-30 blend towel, which is what I was about to mention. I'll go into that in a second. But people do use those Costco type towels to apply ceramic coatings. Because the thing about ceramic coating application, Dale, is that when you use a towel, you've got to throw it out.
Yep.
Right. So a lot of people don't like using expensive towels because they've got to throw it out. As a professional, right, you've kind of factored that into the cost, so it really shouldn't matter. But still, people use lesser quality towels. But if we get back to the Rip and Rag towels and the type of towel it is, so it's the general workhorse towels. You can use it, you can throw it away if you need to, you can wash them if you need to. But here's the major difference, is that whereas I will say to this stage, 100%, let's say 99% of workhorse towels in the marketplace are standard 80-20 blend towels, which you shouldn't use on the exterior of a car. There's more of a chance that they will scratch and mar the exterior of a car. These are premium 70-30 blend towels, which is the majority of the Rag Company range. They're the largest distributor of premium 70-30 blend towels in the world for the automotive industry. So these towels are safe to use anywhere on your car, safe to use on the exterior of your car. Now, if you want to get a towel, you've got a bit of tar you're trying to remove, or you've got a bit of bird shit on the car, you can use these towels for those dirtier jobs if you want to on the exterior. If you want to use them as your coating removal towels, they will actually do a reasonable job, and they're 70-30 blends as well. That's the major difference. Now, they're smaller than a lot of the standard towels. Again, I'll go back to Costco. And by the way, the Kirkland towels are actually not a bad microfiber towel for that level of towel. I think they're 40 or 50 centimetre by 40, 50 centimetres. These are 30 by 30, so they're a little bit smaller. But the beauty is you've either got a roll like a Chuck's roll, or you've got a box like a tissue box. So they're nice and neat. You go to the roll, you rip it off. You can put it on one of those, the Chuck's towel holders.
Yeah.
You can put it on one of those if you want, and you can rip them off. Or you can, and my favourite are the boxes, by the way, because it's like a tissue box. They look good, nicely packaged. They sit on your bench. Go grab a towel, use it like a tissue comes out. So the concept's fantastic. The quality of towel for these towels are the highest quality disposable towels in the marketplace, by far. And best of all, priced ridiculously well. So the towels on the roll are going to cost just under $1 a towel, and the towels in the box are going to cost under 90 cents a towel. So if you say, look at the Costco towels, which are, yes, they're a bigger towel, they're lesser quality, but a bigger towel, and they're around the 75 odd cents a towel. So it's very similar cost-wise, and you're getting a quality towel you can use on any surface confidently, safely, and they're stored in a way that it's just neat and tidy, and they're easy to use. So this is very exciting. You know, you're thinking with microfiber towels, Dale, what else can the rag company do?
Yeah,
I'm serious, because I don't know if you've
exactly.
seen the range, but you come to us and say, I want a towel to do this job, and I can tell you exactly the towel and why that's the right towel for that job. If you're thinking, how many more towels can they bring out that aren't kind of just different versions of a similar towel?
Yep.
This is exciting because it's innovative, and they're not the only ones that have done it, by the way. Autofiber, and I'll use that brand. Autofiber have come out with a similar concept. Don't know if they're in Australia yet, but again, they're 80-20 blend towels.
Yep.
There's a difference. They're
Yes.
not the 70-30, and you'll find that our pricing is less than the Autofiber pricing.
Yeah, right.
Is the States. I'm assuming it will be here when it comes out here. It is in the States. So it's one of the most exciting concepts that have come into the microfiber towel industry over the past 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
But it's something a little bit different. So that's exciting, and they should be available by the end of this week.
Yep. So people,
by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, we're recording in December 23. So for anyone playing at home, yeah, I did see the Rip and Rags, on the rag company on the SEMA specials they were doing. So they definitely look pretty cool.
Yeah, and at the stand there was constantly people coming up and checking them out. It was a very successful launch at SEMA for them, the Rip and Rags.
Yep.
So it's very exciting.
That's awesome. So I'll just touch on SEMA. So you were there. You went there early by the looks of it and hung out with everyone over there.
Yeah. So look, I do this trip most years. As I said, we're suppliers for, as I mentioned before, for a number of the major US brands. It's very hard to really spend quality time with these brands at SEMA because everyone wants a piece of them. So, Levi, Anthony, Dane, these guys, the rag company, are celebrities over there. They're like TV stars in the industry.
Yeah.
So everyone wants a piece of them. So you cannot get quality time at SEMA. So what I do when I do this trip, I'll go all over the US, and I'll go to Florida to SEMA Keys 37. I'll drop in a Tim at Ethos in Vista, California. I'll spend a few days at the rag company. I'll spend a few days at P&S, and P&S actually this year had an international distributor training going on for 2 or 3 days before SEMA. And when I go there, I can spend quality time discussing issues, trying to improve things like supply chains. If our customers have issues in Australia, I can bring them up with them. We try and rectify things. So, I'm trying to look after the customers in the Australian market. We do some training. We do, as you've seen with the rag company, we do a lot of media. So I do a few podcasts and videos and stuff, with the rag company and P&S. Did a podcast with P&S this year, and if we can. So by the time we get to SEMA, we don't need to see our suppliers, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We will see the suppliers, but we don't need to see the suppliers because I don't want to take up their time when they can be spending their time with the people they need to be spending the time with. Yep. So it's about a 3.5 week trip. It's too long. Trust me, it's too long because there's a lot of travel in those 3.5 weeks. I might get 3 days off. So you can imagine it's full on, but it's well worth it for our business. We get a lot of opportunities and we meet a lot of people and you see if there's anything new and it's well worth going.
Was there much? It didn't look well. I'll let you say it. Was there much new stuff this year? I know there was some things that were new, but they were very similar. Or yeah,
you put it very well. Look, it's kind of like with the car wash show I spoke about beforehand, the International Car Wash Show. There's generally not a lot that's new year to year. Okay, so SEMA, the car care products, halls and SEMA changed maybe just after COVID, because by that stage wraps and PPF became a much bigger part of the industry, right? So when in 2019 there wasn't really that much on the wrap and PPF side, but from 2022, so from last year, this year, there's a lot more of that part of the industry, so significantly more of that part of the industry. That was a big change, but there wasn't that much of a change that I could see, not being an expert in wraps and PPS, but I could even see in that industry year to year, last year to this year. As far as products go, what he says is 100% correct, right? There's not a lot that's new. That people are trying to make different versions of a particular type of product. So if I can explain SEMA and give you an idea, SEMA, have you been to SEMA Dale?
No, but I'm trying.
You got to get there. So it's huge.
Absolutely.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And there's a number of big halls. There's the South Hall, there's the North Hall, there's the West Hall, there's the Central Hall, and some of these halls are double story, and they're all big in their own right. So the West Hall, which is the newest hall, which is massive, that houses probably 60% of that, maybe, no, say 60% is four-wheel drive market. The other 40% is car care products. Okay, that's our industry.
Yep.
And in that hall, most of the big brands are there. The main brands that you know are there. Interestingly, this year, it was funny. I walked around the day when everyone was setting up because we go in on behalf of the rag company, so we can go in before it actually opens.
Yep. And
I'm walking around, I'm thinking there's something missing. I couldn't work out what it was.
There was a few missing.
And then I was walking around, and someone said, Guillon's not here, and Guillon's always there.
Yeah.
Guillon weren't there. Chemical guys who have kind of weren't there last year that weren't there. There's a few brands that weren't there, but the established brands were all in the West Hall. To get into the West Hall, you have to do your time in other halls, right? So you kind of got to go 1, 2, 3 years, show you're loyal, show you present well, and then you may get accepted into the West Hall.
Oh, okay.
So this year it was the North Hall was kind of a lot of these industries, I think, that hadn't qualified, a lot of booths that hadn't qualified to get into the other halls where their main industry was. So I spent a lot of time walking through the North Hall. There are a lot of chemical companies there, a lot of car care products companies. And these are the newbies or the ones that hadn't quite got to the stage where they get accepted into the West Hall. A lot of these are brands, some are brands that we may know of, a lot were brands we haven't heard of. And you go in there and you speak to them, and why is your product different? And they'll say, well, look, we're a family-run business. We've been going for 20 years. We've got great colors. We've got really different fragrances. I mean, it's all variations on the same thing, right? So no one can really say you should take us on because of this reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult. I mean, there's so many great brands in the market internationally, right? So many great products, so many types of products. It's very hard to bring a new type of product onto the market. So from what I saw, there was nothing that was new. Yes, there was variations on existing. There was not really a lot that I saw that was actually new. And it doesn't mean there wasn't. It just means I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I was there. It was such a big show, right? That you can't see everything, and you're going to miss things as well. But I couldn't see a lot that was new for what I was looking at anyway.
Yeah, because you go over there and you see what's new, and obviously you look around, you see maybe the possibility of bringing them to Australia, but if it's probably something you're selling already or very similar. So
yeah, but it's not that simple, Dale, because just because you see a good product or a good type of product or a good brand doesn't mean you can bring it into the Australian market, right? Because if there's not a lot of exposure for that brand on your social media, it's not going to sell here.
No.
Not to the level that you need it to. So that's the first issue. The second issue, Dale, is that there are too many great quality products on the Australian market for the size of our population.
100%.
So it's very difficult to bring in a new product, a new brand, and establish it on the Australian market. It's just hard. It's a lot of work. And then if you're concentrating too hard on that new brand, you let the ball slip on your other brands.
Yep.
Yeah, which is what's bringing in the revenue.
Yep.
In business terms. So it's not just a matter of finding a good product, another good brand over there. It's you've got to look at it from a business perspective, and sometimes the enthusiastic kid in you says that'd be a great brand to bring in. You know what I mean? But it's not that simple. You've got to think of it from a business perspective. So, and I'm sure all the other people all my competitors that are bringing products in are all thinking the same way. So there are so many products over in the US that aren't here in Australia. And some aren't, but you've never heard of them.
No.
So I'm not going to, that's not right, but I could name you a few brands that have been here for a year or two that you've never heard of. You get it? So if you've never heard of them, how well do they sell? from my perspective, if you don't go, you
Yep.
may miss an opportunity because something may come out, may be new, may be different, and that's why we go there.
Bit
So,
like the original story of your P&S and rag company.
100%. Yeah, you never know when an opportunity is going to present itself. You got to be there. If you're not there, you can't get that opportunity. If you are there, maybe you can. If you go and you don't, so be it. And also, Dale, for me, it's the investment's fine to go over there because I'm utilising my time beforehand, right? So if I see nothing at SEMA, it's not like I can say, it's a waste of time because a trip always has value for me, right? And mind you, in saying that, and I'm going to be very cryptic here, but a couple of significant opportunities did come up for us, which you'll hear about mid to late next year. There you go. That's all I can say. But yeah, and being at SEMA was a big part of that.
That's awesome. How do you see the future of SEMA? Is that going to get bigger and better, you reckon? Or
I think it can only get bigger and better.
Yeah.
I don't know how much bigger it can get because it's already huge, but it's just the place to be. It's a place to be. What really is a bit of the astonishing thing about SEMA is that it's a trade show.
I was going to say it is a trade show.
It's a trade show, right? So it's not for the public. So if you are an employee or an owner in a car-related business, okay, so you could be a panel beater, you could own a car wash. As long as it's a car-related business, you can get into SEMA.
Yeah.
If you are not, can't get in. So you go to this show and there's 40, 50, 60,000 people a day going through this show, and you think to yourself, this is not the general public. What would happen with the show if the general public could get in?
It'd be crazy.
Mate, you'd have 200,000 people there every day.
Yeah.
It's just a place to be, and it'll be ongoing. They can't hold it anywhere else except for Vegas because of the sheer size of it, the convention center there. So I think it'll definitely grow bigger and better. How, I don't know. Vegas is a bit hard at the moment because the Grand Prix is 2 weeks later, so Vegas has got its own difficulties at that time of the year nowadays. But then again, when you're there, most of us that go regularly, you're not there for Vegas anyway. You're there for the show, and it just happens to be in Vegas, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it'll definitely it's well worth you going. Stick on your bucket list. Get there as soon as you can. It's a great experience.
Yeah, I've been there, but it was in July, not November. So it's
no. As I said, don't go because it's Vegas. Go because you want to go to SEMA.
Yeah,
and especially the first time you go, you're just in awe of everything. But by the time it's with me now, the third, fourth, fifth time, you're there because you're there. It's not, you know what the event is.
Yeah.
But the first time you go, you're just a kid in a candy store. You really are.
Yeah. No, it definitely is a bucket list. So that's pretty much it, really. We've talked a lot about the new products. So yeah, we are recording in December. And this will be out in February. So yeah, hopefully keep an eye out on Car Care Co for probably more announcements, no doubt.
Yeah, you'll hear a lot more for some of all the new products that are coming out. Obviously, we'll announce it as soon as we can. So you can go on the website. We try and get it on social media. If you're not following us, obviously there's an issue. But then again, you'll probably hear about new products from our dealers. So you'll hear the word, and a couple of the big announcements for next year. We'll get out the best way we can. But yeah, just keep an eye on us. You can check our Instagram out on AU Car Care Co. So not just Car Care Co, AU Car Care Co. And it's at all of our dealers. I can't name them all, but Detailing Shed, Auto Bath, Detail Store, Car Care Products, take a bit of our gear, Nesty Detailing South Australia. These guys all have their own social media as well.
Yeah.
So big announcements, new products, you'll see. You find them somewhere.
Yeah. Do you have any smaller like detail shops supply your products as well, like that?
Yeah, another good question. We have a few. We'd like more. Yeah. All right. So that business, P&S have a have a storefront program in the US. They call it their storefront program. And storefronts are detailers, professional detailers that have a little shop, or not even a shop, it's not a shop, but it's a room on the premises where they can actually put in shelves and have it set up as like a retail outlet. It's only small, it doesn't have to be big, only small. And that's what the storefront program is. And these guys aren't necessarily an online supplier, but it's a local supplier where people locally can come and pick product up, or when you've had your car detailed, you can get a bottle of, Pearl, which is the penis vehicle wash, or a bottle of bead maker to look after your car, or brake buster for your wheels. You can pick up some product when you're getting your car detailed. And that's a storefront program. Yep. We've got a couple of those, a few of those. We would actually like more. We haven't really advertised that as such. And the ones we've picked up are predominantly ones that have gone to P&S in the States. That can we be a part of your storefront program? And then they get referred back to us.
Yeah.
Right. So for any details that are listening to this that do want to have a bit of an extra revenue source, a storefront program is the best way to go. And it's not even that. It's when you're coding a car or you just detail a car, to say to your customer, you know what, if you want to maintain a property, you can do it yourself if you come in next time. We've got the products. You might take on a few extra dollars. There's a bit more extra revenue for you. So the storefront program works. We'd love to have more storefront sellers in the market. So when the time comes, we'll try and advertise a bit more, but it's that's not priority for us to advertise that at the moment. We're just trying to get on top of everything else at the moment still. So
yeah, no, that's a good option. We do talk about that, and I know other little smaller detail shops have their own sort of products and offer that as kits and stuff. So yeah, no, that's very good. So all right, well, we might wrap it up, Mark, and we'll let you get back to your busy day. So thanks heaps for taking the time. It's been awesome, and you were one of the bucket lists again to have on this program when I started. So awesome to finally get you on.
Yeah, no, it was great being here. Appreciate it. Happy to come on board again if you want to have another chat at another time.
Yep.
Especially maybe leading on to next year when some things are happening. Be more than happy to do so.
No, awesome.
Great.
So, all right, we'll wrap that up, people, and thanks, Mark, and thanks for listening, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks.
That was another episode of the Detailing Down Under podcast. Subscribe now for everything auto detailing in Australia.